one of the been to these events but hasn't talked to these drivers. You're not at an F1 event, guys. You're not at NASCAR, okay? You're not at the Long Beach Grand Prix. You're not at an Indy race. Talk to the teams. Talk to the drivers. They're hyped about talking to people. They do this because they love it. They don't do it for the fame. And that right there is Life starting their first hot lap. I'm sorry, their second hot lap. This Supra of Robert Robles was in the pits also while Life was, so he was getting set up. They were checking tire temperatures, tire pressures, getting ready to go out.
Yeah, I really like the look of that Supra, especially with the yellow accent graphics. I've been tossing around that idea because I also have a silver car of doing some neon yellow graphics to help, because silver's kind of an awkward color to match.
You got to make it pop. You actually have to find a different one. Here's a top view of the Life car going through the truck stop and then going into bus stop. Like we said, driving around, putting that right rear off into the dirt is probably the fastest you could be around that corner.
Honestly, I don't think the tire actually went into the dirt. I believe the diffuser sucked the dirt up off the ground.
So we have dirt vortices now, according to Mr. Kuzma. And he would actually be right, because it didn't look like he went over the curb line. Or what it really could be is drivers going off and putting debris on track or putting dirt on track, which is what bus stop is most famous for.
Yeah, the nice thing about the way it's shaped is when somebody goes deep, the dirt tends to kick off track and not onto the track.
Here we have Life going through the S's, about to be on the back straight right here. Again, it's just impossible to tell if he is boarding a lap or if he's going full speed. The thing is just so planted through the corners. The reason seeing a car through the S's is so exciting is because you get to see the attitude of the vehicle. But this car's only attitude is doing a 41.082, going fast. Sean Cagle does look like he will hold the lead of this session. If Cole's going to want to surpass him, he's going to either have to do it in the next 2 sessions or tomorrow.
It does look like Robert Robles is coming in, so he will not set another flyer down.
No, and truth be told, this is one of the best sessions to be in. And when we see these drivers out here, they tend to. That was Lawrence Yun with his warm up going into a flyer. He was in the hot pits. These drivers do tend to want to come in, get checked out, and go back out. They see this beautiful track, calling their name. Not a lot of traffic out there. These first and second sessions have all the fastest cars in them, so they want to have as much open space as possible to set their lap times.
Now, I didn't happen to look at Yun's car, but I have a feeling it's a pretty fairly stock Porsche, and it can be noted that way because he's just out here lapping. He's just putting it down lap after lap, no signs of slowing. And a lot of these factory cars that are well built precision machines, they can come out here and they can just lap and lap and lap.
Well, yeah, you look at Oscar Jackson and Ryan Novak's GT3, and that is just a GT3. It's exactly how it would have been out of the box. Beautiful car, runs fantastic lap times, and unlike a lot of other high-strung cars here, it can do it over and over and over again.
Yep. We've got a nice drone shot of the Life car coming into the pits.
It does look more spaceship than vehicle from up here. This is going to be the last 3.5 minutes of this run group. It does look like we have Group 2 getting ready on the paddock. Group 2 is getting ready. This is going to be Group 2, Session 2. Unlike a lot of the cars we were talking about, the evasive car that we were talking about, he likes to come in hot. The Life car has data on everything. They have IR temp sensors. They have tire pressure data. So Cole is not going to push the car 10 tenths to get it back in for the team. They have this data going through their electronic stream. They don't need it.
Yeah, the car is fully set up to log everything. I mean, just shy of Cole's heartbeat, probably.
I'm pretty sure it's being logged.
I think he might have a Fitbit on or something. But that's a full Pikes Peak ready car, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, that they might have quietly confirmed that they are going to go to World Time Attack with Sydney again.
You know, quiet confirmations are not true confirmations, but our sport is built off quiet confirmations. The internet drama.
Yeah, Cole was doing a lot of posting on some of those World Time Attack posts. So who knows? Let the speculations begin.
You know, truth be told, last time they were there, they were able to set laps. They ran into issues. Funny enough, because, you know, World Time Attack also has spec tires and spec sizes, the wheels that Sydney ran at World Time Attack are on Project Import Test 2000.
Wow.
If you want a little Time Attack history in the paddock for you. The lull is done. We do have a group 2 of session 2 going on track right now. That is group 2, session 2. Good to see Dai Yoshihara back on track. Does look like Johnny Hernandez and Thomas Smith are going out as we speak.
Yeah, keep an eye on those two. Those two are going to be battling all weekend.
Wouldn't be the first time they've battled, won't be the last. Also, it does look like I think that's Gabriel Shadid, actually. Let me double check this for you guys. So we have Group 2 going out. Group 2 does consist of Gabriel Shadid, Gary Wong, Clayton Yates, Dai Yoshihara. Then behind him is going to be Johnny Hernandez. It does look like the Art of Attack BMW is not back out yet. They did have that rear diffuser come off of the vehicle, so I'm sure they want to look it over, make sure it's good to go before they send it full attack again. Pretty crazy to think this event has been going on here since Super Street had the inaugural Super Lap battle in 2009, I believe it was. People always want to ask why we have this event here at Buttonwillow, and every series has their track. You know, every series has their event that is their pinnacle or go-to event. And for GTA finals here at Buttonwillow, it's just historical. These drivers want to set lap times at the same place the likes of Sierra Evo, Cyber Evo, all these other teams have set fast lap times here, and everyone always wants to put themselves against those lap times. Clayton Yates in that C7 Z06. It's really cool to see. He's actually running factory aero off of a ZR1. So he's running a ZR1 rear wing, Z06 stage 3 front aero. It's awesome to see that he's using factory aero to be able to come out here and compete, because these cars really are built to go fast out of the box. What is that Audi, by the way? Is that the V10 or the V8? Because it's screaming. I want to say it's the V8 just by how good it sounds.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. I actually didn't really see much of that car in tech, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it did come in a V10 variant, obviously. That's the big displacement motor, but the V8 screams like a Formula engine. You know, yeah. It makes a noise that is just really pleasing to a motorsport fan. Guys, Gabriel Shadid, first lap of this group, a 147.327. Really picking up pace out there. I'm not sure who's driving the R8, how much time they have here, or how the car is set up. Obviously, we want to talk about jumping bus stop. He was carrying a lot of speed through the complex, but he actually drove around the corner. Dai Yoshihara, 141.253.
Yeah, I was going to say he was moving because he put a couple bus lengths up onto that C7 coming across start finish.
My goodness. It looks like the evasive team has really gotten it together.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be moving up into Group 1 after lunch.
And here's the battle we're talking about. Thomas Smith clips Johnny Hernandez by almost a second. Thomas Smith is now sub 50. He ran a 49.9. Got Johnny Hernandez at a 150.7. see what Jose Mejia and the Art of Attack Civic can pull on their first hot lap. He has gone sub 50 here before out of competition. I believe his fastest lap in competition was a 150. Jose seems to have been on not the fastest flyer out of the gate, because he did do a 209. Now, the question is the evasive car set up to run multiple laps, or is Dye going to come in? More than likely come in, get the car checked out, and then go out for another flyer.
Well, I did see Mike Kojima down there as one of the crew chiefs for the evasive car, and I know he is a man of data, so he wants that car to come in. He wants to check everything over and make sure it's good to go.
Gabriel Shadid, a few tenths faster than his last lap, a 47.285. It does look like Kevin Burke in the yellow S2000 may have either had an issue. They're in the cold pits right now.
I don't believe that's Kevin.
Oh, that is actually Gary Young, I believe. Gary Wong, I mean, in his yellow S2000. Kevin Burke is in Group 1. For those of you trying to figure out where these times stand with everybody else, I'm going to throw a few numbers at you really quick. So the enthusiast all-wheel drive record is a 56. Front and rear-wheel drive records are both 55s. The enthusiast rear-wheel drive record and the overall of 55.5 was set by Dom Bautista back in 2015. The limited the street all-wheel drive record is a 46. That's exactly what Johnny Hernandez and Thomas Smith are trying to chase right now. The street front-wheel drive record is a 150. That's Jose Mejia on track in his limited class car now. And the street overall record is, of course, Amir in his NSX that's being rebuilt for unlimited class right now. He ran a 144.2. This is what Paul and I are talking about with times have just jumped drastically over the last 5 years alone. You got street class cars deep into the 40s. Limited class, the all-wheel drive record is a 42.6 held by Jeff Westfall. The rear-wheel drive record is a 44 held by Ferris Khartoumi, and the front-wheel drive is a 45 held by Will Dries, who is co-driving the Art of Attack BMW with Amir. The unlimited record, all-wheel drive. Let's talk about unlimited all-wheel drive, because that is what Professional Awesome and Life Racing, Life Motorsports is chasing. That's a 137.7 by David Hagsma. Now, the crazy part about that is the 37.7 is only 4/10 off the overall record of a 37.3 held by William Al Young. Now, the rear-wheel drive record is a 140.379. Now, we're going to have to see what Sean Cagle has ran so far. See how close he is to surpassing that record. That record
was a 40.9.
I believe it is a 40.9.
Wait, hold on.
Sean Cagle is chasing a record held by Billy Johnson. Thomas Smith starting another flyer. He did a little cool down lap there, 2:15. Probably going out, letting the tires cool off just a little bit, not pushing them to the limit through the corners or any high G corners, and being able to go out and keep them under him for another flyer. There's Thomas right there. Here we have Jose Mejia being checked out by the Art of Attack team. Behind him, the evasive S2000 being driven by Dai Yoshihara. It does look like the evasive team is done going over the car. Let's see if they're done with their lap for today or if they're going to go back out. It does look like they only laid down one flyer this session. He's going to go back into the pits. They're going to go over any data they need to go over, make any small changes. In a car of that level, we're not just talking about tire pressures. We're talking about suspension changes, dampening, aerodynamic changes. There's so many things that you can do on a vehicle to pick up the smallest amount of lap time. This is Johnny Hernandez being chased down by Thomas Smith. Looks like Johnny's getting out of the way for him. Thomas is still on a flyer. If you noticed, Thomas wasn't catching him very quickly. Johnny was making sure to go fast through that section to let Thomas through in a safe place that wasn't going to affect his lap time. Unlike the life car, you can really see the Subaru moving through the S's. That's what you want to see going through there. Someone pushing the car to the limit. See the attitude of the car out of those corners. With a 148.963. Picked up into the next second. He was a 49.7 right before that.
Yeah, he's definitely warming up. He's definitely feeling good. Let's see what Johnny puts. Johnny's going to start a flyer right now, and we'll see what his answer is.
He needs to get below that 50-second barrier right now. And what's crazy is when you look at Johnny's car, you don't look at a car and go, man, that thing goes sub 150. It's just splitter, wing, very well set up suspension, great setup on the alignment, tires, and overall a great driver. The Audi R8 has been limping around the track. I'm unsure if he has an issue and he's just trying to get in or if there's something else going on, but we did see him going through bus stop and truck stop extremely slow. So hopefully whatever's going on with that car, they can get it back in the pits. It does look like Thomas Smith is out of the way for Johnny in bus stop. These guys are competing for the same class. They're competing for the same podium, but they're not going to get in each other's way.
Looks like the R8 is moving through the S's now and coming back through. I do know sometimes they do have cooling issues on some of those cars, so maybe it was a really cool down lap, or he's going to come on in. We're going to see. No, it looks like he's going to take Sunset and he's going to go for a flyer.
Yeah, he may have just had to keep the car cool. You're talking about these newer supercars with a lot of electronics. You overheat it too much. You get too much heat into the engine bay, into the cooling system. It could easily put the car into a limp mode, and that's probably what he's trying to avoid. It does look like Dai Yoshihara is in the lead of this session by leaps and bounds. Needless to say, we're absolutely going to see him near the front of Group 1 in the sessions after lunch.
Looks like Johnny Hernandez has aborted his flyer. Not sure what went on there, but he's going to come in and probably call that the end of his session.
Yeah, he probably saw that he was going slower or made a bobble or a mistake and felt it wasn't worth putting any more stress on those tires.
See Gabe Shadid flying through bus stop, trying to catch up to that Corvette.
Well, Gabe is definitely a fun guy to watch. It does look like the R8 had to slow down again, so he may be dealing with some gremlins, or as we were talking about, the car may have gone into a limp. It was actually a problem we saw early on with all the Supras. Remember first year of the Supras, there were some guys that couldn't do more than a lap without the car going into a limp, had to come in, do a full power reset on the car.
One of the issues I think that they found out with those cars was the changing the battery affected things. You actually have to program the car to tell it what capacity battery is in there.
Battery changes are probably one of the most common things you see, because these cars, you know, it is still a BMW. It still has a 87-pound 4-foot battery in the thing. So the first thing they want to do is get rid of that. But you're right, it could truly affect the electronics on the car. Either it's expecting voltage A, it's getting voltage B. So it's great to see the development on the car, but this is the argument between a tried and true chassis and a chassis that is new. The tried and true cars, you know what you're going to run into. The new cars, it's exactly that. You have to fight through all the gremlins.
Yeah, and that's part of being one of those front runner teams, the first ones to do it. You know, we've seen Jackie Ding struggle a lot with the Supra, but they've found solutions to a lot of things, and now they're the go-to guys. Everybody's asking them, how do I make my Supra fast? What problems am I going to see?
Well, you're not the fastest A90 Supra in the United States without going through every single problem on the planet.
Yep. Again, we can see that beautiful purple Supra going through bus stop. Looks like both him and Gabriel Shadid are on a cool down. They've been lapping pretty hard this whole session, so I don't know if they're going to call it or they're cooling it down for one more hit.
Well, Gabe is the kind of guy that just goes every lap. He's really fun to watch. He's obviously a very nice guy, always smiles, no matter what's going on with the car or going on at the event. He doesn't let it affect him negatively in any way, and it's great to have competitors like that. Being up here worse than being down there, because now you get to see everyone from a high vantage and you're just hoping you were the guy on track right now?
Yeah, I didn't think I could talk any more than when I'm down in grid, but I think I actually am.
Paul is usually the guy helping send cars out, getting them lined up, takes care of tech, takes care of a lot of things here at the GTA events. Many of these guys out here, guys and gals, they wear many hats. Everything they can do to make sure these events run smooth, mainly for the competitors. Without them, we wouldn't be what we are today. So the most important thing to us is just make sure that everyone gets their time on track, everyone has a smooth event, lays down their laps. And overall, it's been great. I got to say, I was a little nervous this morning leaving, looking out the hotel window at 5 a.m. and seeing fog everywhere. I was afraid we were going to be like last year where we had to really back it up because the fog just was over the track for an extended period of time. But it does look like the weather gods have done us good, given us good weather, good temperature, just enough sun to make us happy. Hopefully these guys have this all the way through the end of today and what we will call the money sessions tomorrow, sessions 1 and 2.
Yeah, I believe the forecast for tomorrow is to be a little bit colder, so we're going to have to see how that affects the track surface, tires, and the fog, unfortunately. Looks like we have Group 3, lining up on grid, getting ready to get going. We are still under green flag, so there is a few more minutes of this session, but I don't believe anybody else is out there because I did just see the Supra, Gabriel Shadid, and the R8 all come in, so I don't believe there's any cars out on track. So we might be able to make up some time.
It does look like the track has gone cold. This is the lull towards lunch. We see this at the second session of the day and the last session of the day. People set their lap times, but they've obviously been beating on their machinery for quite some time, so they want to make sure that whatever machinery they have is enough to come back for session 3 and 4 and tomorrow to go fast. So they're going to checker this session, let people on grid get ready to go out. Looks like it's being led out by Oscar Jackson in the Novak Racing GT3.
As you can see at the bottom of your screen, we do have an old school Nissan powered by a new school Nissan. So I believe there is a 370Z engine powering that old Nissan.
VQ powered 240Z, huh?
Yeah.
Or 260Z.
I get them all.
It's the only reason I can't tell you by how it looks. I was just looking through the entries, to be very honest with you. Though I love these cars, if you put them next to each other, maybe I'd know which is which. Maybe I wouldn't.
That's how I am with LSs. They're all LSs to me.
Truth be told, they all look the same in the car.
So we are under checker flag, so we probably got another few minutes before they're going to release cars out here. Let the last stragglers catch up and get into their grid spots.
pretty cool to see these cars on grid, to be honest with you. The juxtaposition of a GT3 out of the box and Jarrell Natividad's full aero, full livery Supra. And then we're next to a 2.5 RS Subaru next to a car that just came from SEMA, or actually that's the ZL11LE that's 100% liveried out. You look out here and none of these cars look like each other. Everyone has their own style. Everyone has their own aero packages. Everyone runs things that they believe will work best. Best part about the Crawford car is they're basically running what it was back in the day, just with new parts on it. And they've been doing great doing so.
Yeah, everybody has their own concept of what is speed. Some guys make a ton of power. You can ask Tony Zerka, and he's always said that he knows how to build an engine and tune an engine really well, so he's going to always rely on power. He will admit he's not the best driver out there, and he'll rely on power to make him get them times.
Truth be told, that's every motorsport these days. I mean, you can't even compete in Formula Drift without 1,000 these days, right?
Yeah, those guys are really starting to push their numbers higher and higher.
Best part about being out here is, yes, these guys and gals, they're making power, but they have to find a way to put it to the ground. People always go, well, how come you don't limit engine mods, or how come enthusiast class can make just as much power as street? And the answer is, look, you want to make 900 horsepower in your enthusiast class car? Good luck putting it down on 220 treadwear tires that are 255 wide,
Back in the day, before we had some of the car restrictions for base classes for certain cars, we did have, I believe it was Roy, put his GTR on small little tires.
Street class.
To try to come in a street class and beat up on people, and it didn't work out for him because you couldn't control it.
Car's too heavy, didn't have enough aero to support it, too much power. The rules really limit the driver. Everyone thinks they can quote unquote cheat the system, but every person that's tried has gone slower technically. He went significantly faster when he jumped to limited class. And obviously to try and limit the feeling of drivers in the class, no one wants to sign up for street class and then see 1,000 horsepower GTR next to them. Does that mean that GTR is going to be faster? No, but it's that feeling. It's the same thing like you talked about with pro drivers. People don't want to sign up for street class, the first real jump in where you're competing with people that are trying hard to win and grid up next to Dayo Shihara.
Yeah, we've had an array of professional drivers come through.
Absolutely. And right now, we're going to go ahead and cut down to our fearless leader, Jason Dienhart. He's going to interview someone down there, get you to know some of these drivers, see what's going on in the paddock, and see what's going on with these guys.
Watching the GTA live stream here, live from Buttonwillow, GTA Finals 2022. I want to ambush Kevin Courtney over here, and we got Will Dries that drives the Prelude. Corey Wells Racing. Let's see if we can have a quick interview here and see what's going on with these guys over here. Kevin, I'm going to ambush you real quick. I'm sorry about that. I like to just jump in on these interviews. Kevin, so what can you tell us about what's going on with the car today? We saw that maybe yesterday in practice you might have been having some braking issues that might have led to a tire issue. What can you tell us?
Well, we went out for the first session and everything was feeling really good, but we went around and it's super cold here in Buttonwillow, and then I went around a couple corners and everything was like ice, and we were having trouble yesterday with warming, getting heat in the tires because it's so cold out. Like yesterday afternoon it was okay, but today being at like 35 degrees when we got here, it was super cold, and I locked it up. First I locked up going into sweeper, but I kind of went off and went straight and everything was okay, and I came in and the tires kind of cooled down, and I went back out and I locked it up going into Sunset, and just put a whole kind of big flat spot. I felt it going along the straightaway, and yeah, I just kind of kept going, which I probably should have stopped, but once I kept going, it kind of tore up. It delaminated and it tore up pretty much everything. But
yeah, why don't we walk over here and I'll kind of show you a little bit what they're working on here. So looks like they tore off a part of the splitter right here, which is unfortunate, part of the fender. So I see them doing some work here. And the great thing about the Time Attack community is that this gentleman right here is not even on their team. He's actually from Life Motorsports, who I'm going to go talk to after this in a little bit and try to interview Cole. But Time Attack community's got each other's back. Everybody's about trying to go fast and, help each other out. So this is really cool to see two teams here actually in the same class competing against each other, but helping each other out to get back out on track in order to have a fair fight, which is awesome. Thank you, guys. Let's go this way over here and see if we can find his teammate, Cole Pallison, who drives the Life Motorsports GTR all the way from Utah. Real famous Time Attack build. It's held records here throughout its years in other tracks that we visit. You'll recognize the car if you are a... Here we go. You'll recognize the car if you're a big fan of Time Attack. He's been to World Time Attack Challenge over in Australia, Ian Baker's event, the biggest Time Attack event in the world. So it's always great when we get Life Motorsports back in the fold over here at Buttonwillow. Let's see if we could find it. Here's Kyle, one of the team owners right here, actually. Let's see if we could talk to Kyle for a minute. Man, it's great to have you guys back out here in California, back here at Buttonwillow. How's it going so far?
So far, we're doing great. We've been just trying to sort out a few minor problems with it. We haven't had anything major. The car's been pretty solid for us, which is a nice change from some of our other events that we've been to. But yeah, we've really been having a good time this morning with it. So super happy.
Awesome. Like I was saying, it's great to have you guys out here. Buttonwillow. It's in everybody's hearts. It's at a track that we've been time attacking since 2004. Every November, watching your guys' program grow throughout the years has been incredible. I'm just really excited to see how you guys do. We were at Long Beach Grand Prix last year. They were there with us, which was really awesome. They do COTA Super Lap Battle that we do at Circuit of the Americas in March. And again, like I mentioned on the way over here, these guys also go to World Time Attack Challenge every year or so, every couple years, which is a dynamic and just a super duper time attack event, the biggest time attack event in the world. So again, it's great to have these guys out. I was trying to find Cole as well. You know where he's at?
Yep, I can find him for you. Give me a sec.
All right, let's do it. Let's see if we can find him, and we'll walk around the car a little bit and try not to get in the way. But you can see the massive arrow on the front. This is a great example of an unlimited build. Huge splitter, canards, high horsepower. Got Mike actually over there from Innovative Tuning doing his thing. Hello, we're all live right now. How you doing?
Yeah.
So things are going pretty good. A couple little tweaks, but
Yeah, a couple little tweaks, but all in all, car's not overheating. It's not blowing drive shafts. We're turning laps. Cole's having fun. So yeah, good day so far.
Good. Yeah. As long as Cole's having fun, then that's good. That's good. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's good talking to you. It's great to have you out here. Like I said, I missed you at SEMA last week, but I don't know if you guys know Mike here, but super tuner. So it's great to have him out here and helping the guys go real fast. So that's awesome, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, man.
All right, we'll make our way over this way a little bit. Let's see about how further we can go. I don't know if we can go much further. All right, so track's getting hot right now. You can see the cars behind me. This is, I believe it's Group 3 and their second session of the day. After this is Group 4. We'll have a lunch break, and then we'll be back. And you guys could see Life Motorsports back on track after lunch. You could also see Project Import, hopefully, with Kevin Courtney driving if they get the front end back together with some help from Life Motorsports. This is JD. I'm going to sign off and get back to the action on track with Cuban and Paul upstairs.
Thank you, Jason. That was a great job right there, showing us what's really going on in the paddock. He got to speak to Kevin Courtney, the driver of the Project Import S2000. We got a little bit more insight on what happened. A couple lockups there, Paul. Looks like it may not have been a rub issue, but their issue with lockups are still causing them a little bit of grief. But a team like that, they're going to really push back into it. They're not going to let this stop their weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes brake issues can be real pain in the neck. And locking up is, while it's tough, it can be driven around. It's not the fastest, but at least you're stopping. So sometimes if they can't fix it, it's just, hey, throw out the anchor a little bit earlier and a little bit less and just get down, slow down, and not lock this thing up.
100%. And like we've always been talking about, we preach this, but the person over there helping them rebuild the splitter and the bumper, that's part of Life Motorsports team. That's another competitor. Everyone here is family, but they're over there really helping. And talking about Life Motorsports, we talk about the aero and the build and the quality of the car, being able to see it up close with JD right there, not only talking to Kyle, one of the owners, a man that has some deep, intense love for this sport, but also Mike McGinnis, who has competed with us at COTA, Porsche has been tuning the Life car. For all of our fans out there to see it up close and personal who've never seen it in person, that's a build right there.
Yeah, it's an absolute piece of art. And, oh, wow, JP just went really deep into bus stop, kicked up a huge dust cloud. Looks like he might have ruined the lap for the guy behind him.
Very, very possible. That's the hard part when you're in competition. You push hard and someone's close behind you and there's a dust cloud, they're going to naturally slow down. They don't want to, number one, hit you, or number two, just put either of you guys into a dangerous predicament. But back to Life, like he said, they're out here, they're having fun. Mike's exact words, I believe, were Cole's having fun, and as JD said, all that matters is Cole's having fun. And seeing these cars out here, they're not done yet. They're going to continue to push. You see the guys helping the Project Import team trying to get back on track, so they obviously have every intention to keep pushing. It's going to be great to see them all back on track, pushing hard. Honestly, great to see Kevin out here. It's been a long time since we've seen him compete in a GTA, so all power to him. Whatever it takes for them to get back out there, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and like you were saying, everybody comes together to try to help each other out. And I've been out of the game for a little bit, but back when I was crewing a lot more for Tony, even now, there's probably 10 cars out here driving this weekend that I've put my hands on, and I have turned bolts and help fix, help duct tape, help zip tie, and or get tire pressures. They don't have a tire guy, just get tire pressures for them. It is a team effort, and we're all kind of on team time attack.
Oh, absolutely, and that's the best way to look at it. While we were out there talking to the drivers and looking around, this session's been live for about 5. Leading so far is Oscar Jackson with a 151.1, followed by JP at a 151.2. It must feel great for JP in that 2JZ powered BMW to really keep up with a off-the-shelf track machine like a GT3. What's crazy to me is you have Jarrell Natividad, who has been running Enthusiast bumped up to street. He's at a 52.4.
Wow.
In his street class Supra. We understand how good the chassis is, but you don't just get in a Supra and run a 52.
No.
You have to really put in the work. And over the years, he's been working closely with, I believe SPL is one of his sponsors. He has their entire suspension set up, all the arms, all the bearings. They have everything possible on that car. He's worked with quite a few shops, but just to be able to get the car out here, and he's another privateer. He's not from a shop. He works his butt off to be able to get out here and do this. So to see him come back in street class and lay down a 52.4, that is incredible. James Taylor in the Datsun 260Z. Let's see where he's sitting right now. He's not doing too bad, it looks like. He's a 212.669. I don't think he has a lot of time here at this track. The fact that he even, stepped up and came out here to compete. One, the car looks incredible. Two, it looks great on track. He's going to get some time out there, continue to go faster. Overall, though, it does look like a very competitive field. We have Peter Tuchanishki at a 153 right off. That right there is a hard off. This is where I was talking about, Paul. If I'm not mistaken, this is through the S's. This is absolutely through the S's. This is probably one of the hardest areas to go. Paul and I earlier were talking about, if you don't get the S's right, you mess up the first one, it throws you off for the second one, and if you don't slow down to correct, you could very easily hit that final corner with too much curbing and put you all the way around and put you near that tire wall. Hopefully there was no contact. He's going to get off safely. He's right there at pit in, so he's on the inside of the actual corner worker wall. He's just trying to make sure he didn't go back on track, take any debris with him, and he's just going to come back in to get checked out.
Yeah, that last corner on the S's is a left-hander, and when people tend to lose it, they do go left, and unfortunately there is a wall there. We don't see much contact there, but as a driver it can get pretty sketchy out there seeing that wall in front of you. Absolutely,
and sadly that corner and that wall, they have history here. We don't have to go deep into it, but the thing that a lot of people don't get and you won't see, oh man, so I don't know if we have any photos of this. It does look like Nick Steniford's wing is at a backwards angle. It doesn't look like any contact though. It looks like it lost the bolts and it went backwards. That final curb on the S is taller than the rest. So naturally on S's you want to jump them, right, Paul? Or you want to get as close as possible. You want to get up on it. You want to be straight through the S's. But if you jump that last curb, it's double the height of the rest. It could completely unsettle your car, and it's over from there if you try to correct correct it. A lot of drivers will just let the car go off to the right, but you get unsettled enough and the rear end starts to overtake the front. There's not much you can do.
Yeah, through that area, like Cuban said, the S's are full commitment, and if you can get lined up and straight shot those S's, you're pretty much on the power the whole time. So if you come through and jump that last corner and the car gets a little squirrely, you're pretty much matted. So you have to be real confident in your car and real confident in the direction you're traveling to know you're going to come down square.
No, absolutely, and it's the commitment. You know, coming to a track day and going fast for fun, it's one thing. Coming out here and trying to compete and put your car on a podium and having the adrenaline running through your veins. Obviously, everyone who tracks their cars, you get a little bit of adrenaline on track. That's natural. But knowing that you have 20 minutes this session to go as fast as you possibly can, it makes drivers push the limits. And that's exactly what time attack is. It's maximum attack. It's trying to get every tenth, every inch, every millimeter you can out of the car through that entire lap. And you take 1 inch too much curbing, and sometimes it's a little much. Like right here, you can watch this vehicle. It's not too heavy on the curbs. You'll see a lot of guys come in and actually really jump these curbs. And this final curb is double the height. So you'll notice most people either barely touch it or drive around it. But this back straight is significantly faster than the front straight because of the speed you can carry out of it. You're wide open throttle out of that S. That left kink that Paul's talking about, you don't lift there unless you have an obnoxiously high horsepower car.
Yeah, and like Cuban was saying, that rumble strip is very high there. So when you come up on that rumble strip, it naturally wants to push you to the right of the track. So you have to make sure you're square with that track and know that you're going to hit it and it's going to push you over, but you'll have enough space.
You're right. It's the comfort level because the track opens up a lot there too. You have a lot of room to track out to the curbing, but at the same time, you put 2 off on the right in the dirt, you better keep going straight because when you try to recover there, bad things happen.
I do love that shot of the sweeper. You can really see how the S's really pinch you off. You have to be committed. That's why you were talking about the late apex, you know, bleeding off speed into the sweeper and getting yourself squared up to really hammer down through the S's. You can really see it in that shot. Seeing it in video and stuff like that doesn't really show it too much.
And truth be told, the late apex feel comes a lot from the front wheel drive guys.
Yep.
Because what you're doing is you're carrying more speed into the corner and you're lifting and the car is rotating with you. You're either using a little left foot braking or you're just modulating the brake pedal a little bit to keep it on track. Because truth be told, in a front wheel drive car, you're going to point and shoot it. There's CJ Banton in the Crawford car. He's been running a 158, 113 is his fastest of this session. There's Jarrell Natividad going to the sweeper. Now, it's so hard to see here, but the sweeper looks so open. What's crazy is when you're in the car, you're seeing a third of that corner at most when you're turning in. You really have to feel it, and you feel like you can carry so much more speed through it, but eventually you're just off to the left or your car's coming around. You know, the back's passing the front.
Yeah, it is a slightly decreasing radius sweeper. The biggest thing is that first S pinching you off. So it's decreasing radius because the next corner is right there.
Yeah, absolutely. The good thing is, when it all feels right, and Paul will tell you there's no such thing as a perfect lap. No one's ever set one. But when you hit the sweeper and you're lined up for the S's and you're matted all the way to that left, it's a feeling that you can't explain again.
That's a magical feeling. And I also think 3, if you can get up through 3 properly and use the banking and the hill properly, and you get through there and you were like, that was it. That's the feeling I want to have every lap.
Same thing. And you know what's funny though? You go through 3 so fast and it sets you up to go to Cotton, and you end up outbraking yourself in Cotton because you carry so much speed back there.
It's a very important corner. There is a small little straight there that you can get some speed down.
So this is actually Cotton Corners we're talking about right now. So Cotton Corners these are corners that you would call throwaway corners, Paul. You basically want to get through there as a setup to stay matted. You exit Cotton and you technically want to stay wide open throttle. He's going to be wide open through this right, wide open through this left. He's going to set up all the way to the right at the curbing, hit the brakes, jump bus stop.
And our camera jump too.
Well, yeah, exactly. You got to follow the car. It's very hard to even follow a car staying matted there close. So it's a great feeling. You know, there's so many places on this track, and you know, you're going to hear us talk about it. It's the magical this, the that. This track has so much time attack history that when you as a driver go out there and you're able to nail these sections that professionals nail all the time, there's no better feeling. Ooh, that was 2 off right there on the right.
Another 2 off behind him, followed him in. That's the downside of following a car a little too close, is sometimes you follow them into their mistakes. So you'll follow them off track. You'll follow them whether they turned in too early, broke too late. You can follow a lot of people's mistakes out here.
Oh, absolutely. And that's just something that comes with driving and getting used to it. The fixation on track is real. What's crazy is in the car, you don't realize how cattywampus these S's are, because you stay matted through them and you're jumping them so much, but the first S is significantly off from the second and third.
Yeah, you're just holding a little bit of a right turn through the first 2, and then you kind of square up for the last couple.
It does look like the Civic had no issues, though. They're back on track, got it checked out, made sure it was all safe. I'm sure, you know, it's happened to me, it's happened to you. When you have a really fast off through a section like that, you got to kind of, you know, shake it off. So it's like falling off the horse, right? You just got to get right back on. You can't let it affect you.
Yeah, I went off coming into Phil Hill, the left-hander. I made a mistake of lifting a little too much, and back of the car came right around, and I went into the dust. And there's still Buttonwillow dirt in my car 4 years later.
It's not dirt, my friend. It's silt, and it never goes away.
Yep, never will go away.
Another thing that you're never going to see up here, though these shots are amazing, Phil Hill's another blind one. You're going up a hill to make that right, and truth be told, you're basically on throttle all the way till you make the left, and it's a seriously hard braking zone to hit the apex to go up and over. We've had competitors miss the apex, lock up, go over, and actually land in the mud on the other side when it's raining and tear the whole front end off their car.
Yep.
Andrew Neer in the Mustang is what comes to mind. It's also happened to...
Jason Schreck might have did that too.
Big shout out to Jason Schreck, by the way. We miss you, buddy.
Yeah, come on back.
I just wanted you to know that. We miss you, buddy. We want to hear loud noises, and you make some of the best loud noises out here. Whoa. The vehicle, of course. We don't need you blowing your knee out, though, like playing with dogs and stuff, though, okay? Come out, help us.
Yeah, Phil Hill is like you said, a blind corner. It is demanding. You got to kind of have a muscle memory of where the car is, where the track is, and you just kind of send it and hope that the track comes up under you.
100%. It's commitment. You nailed it. Anytime you have a corner that is an upward elevation to a drop off, obviously grip is going to be less. Your setup into the corner is so much more important, because tire grip and aero are not going to save you if you're facing the wrong direction into the corner.
As you can see, we still have the Crawford car out there just hot lapping, getting it done.
Crawford really built that car to go fast for a long time. Now, obviously, I don't think they're on the same power plant, but the whole chassis design was, back then, you built a car to be reliable. Even if you look at the original famous time attack cars, the Cyber Evo, Sierra, okay, the love of all of our lives. You talk about Sierra, the amount of technology from the time, which to this day is still considered wild, that went into the Sierra Evo. That thing was hundreds of pounds too heavy in today's age, because they built a car to be reliable and strong and fast.
Now, I actually got to see that car up close and personal, and to this day, it is still a work of art. And you know, we know that Cole and the boys over at Life have taken possession of that car, and it's true. You look at their builds, and they're very similar. Every wire has its place. Every wire has its own zip tie, or not even zip ties, has its own D-ring that it's screwed down to the chassis. That car is a work of absolute art. Even in today's standards, it has all the technology that these guys are putting in their cars now. And this was 12 years ago?
I mean, that car was built for...
10 years ago?
That car was, what is it, we're 2022... It had 15 years ago.
It had the first EFR in it.
Absolutely,
and that's what unfortunately ended its season.
Hey! No shade being thrown, by the way. That just happens to be the truth.
It was a prototype.
It was absolutely. And
It
that's,
was allowed.
That's the thing about trying to be at the front of the grid. You're going to try things that no one
gotta
has tried.
experiment.
You're going to put parts on that are untested, and you know what? You either become the hero or you die with your head down. When you try something untested, unproven, and you win, oh my God! Everyone's like you're a genius. When you try things that are untested, unproven, and they break, everyone calls you an idiot. There's no in between.
Yeah, unfortunately, you just got to tell them to watch and learn and wait, and we'll be back next year. We'll be stronger and we'll be better. We do have the checker flag thrown for this Group 3 Session 2. Do see some cars lining up for Group 4, so we're going to get these guys out here in about 5 minutes.
Absolutely. So for those of you watching, just so you know, we will be cold from 12 to 1:10, okay? Lunch is going to be from 12 to 1:10. We will be back at 1:10 with Group 1. We'll make sure we get the schedule up for you guys to see it, but I just wanted you to know this is going to be the last group of Session 2. This is going to be Group 4 Session 2. They're going to go hot in probably 4 minutes at 11:40, and they're going to run till 12. So we just want to make sure you guys know we'll be back at 1 o'clock after that session.
All right, guys, so as you can see, we have our schedule up on screen. The special attack group at 11:50 through 12:10 will not be happening today. That will be happening tomorrow. So we will be going hop here for Group 4 at 11:40, and they're going to be running until 12 o'clock. We are going to go to lunch then. So then after lunch comes back at 1:15, we're going to kick up the live stream again, and Cuban's going to have hopefully another guest announcer up here, and we're going to kick it off with Group 1, hopefully get Sean Cagle and Cole Paulson out there to really get some flyers down. And all the way up till 5 o'clock we're going to be running, so these guys will be able to get another 2 sessions to try to put down their fastest laps. All right, and we're back. We are starting to send out the drivers for Group 4 for their final session before lunch. These will be the final guys on track before we go ahead and take our lunch break at 12 o'clock.
What I would also like to do is, number one, I'd like to thank Paul for being up here. You know, Paul gave up taking care of his child for half a day, so he may be divorced after this event. But thank you so much for coming up here with me, man. It's been great talking with you.
Quite possibly, I might be. But it's been fun, and I tried not to say too much, even though I just said right there.
I know. So
Terrible.
here's the enthusiast class standings, guys. 156.689, Zach Sober leading. Aaron Gong right behind him. Sofian Frival at a 158, and then Richard Klein at a 205. The podium for enthusiasts is strong. Thomas Smith, though, leading street class with a 48.963. Robert Robles, very, very close with a 49.1, and Johnny Hernandez at a 57. Once again, the podium is very competitive. These guys are close, within a second of each other. Limited class, on the other hand, Kevin Burke, 47.3. They've really figured out that S2000, but he's going to have to keep going. Gary Wong at a 47.4, and then Lawrence Ewan at a 48.6. These three drivers are going to be fighting the entire weekend. Now, let's not count out Clayton Yates or Will Dries and Amir. They get that BMW figured out, they're going to be up there with them trying to beat them down. In unlimited class, Sean Cagle at a 40.9, leading the entire field right now. Cole at a 41.0, but Dye in the evasive team, 41.2. We don't know if they're a full kill yet, but we do know Dye is just picking up more and more time. Ryan Dusex in Pro Comp, only car in Pro Comp done at this event, but it's great to see him out there, 56.9 in that BTCC Fujitsubo Subaru WRX STI. I believe it's actually just a WRX. Out on track right now is Group 4, Session 2, the final group in the final session before lunch. This is going to be Aaron Gong being followed by Ryan Dusex, followed by Richard Klein. Looks like we do have either Mark Yeager or Austin Shipley in that Mustang, followed by Dustin Kent, who's been having a good weekend so far. I haven't seen any issues with him. That's great. They really want a trouble-free weekend. They always have some little gremlins that are beating them up, so seeing them out on track, not on Jack Sands, is the best feeling, not only for them, but for us who have been following them this entire time. Zach Sober, James Howe, and Sofian Frival leading this up, and Curtis Pogue right out there on track. Everyone has laid down their warm-up lap. Looks like we have one more car. That's going to be that brand new FRS GT86, Robert Robles, and Carly Devry in her Subaru. Zachary Sober has basically led the last two sessions he's been out in, so let's see if that continues or if Aaron Gong or Ryan Dusex can come out and do something more. To be fair, Zach Sober is an absolute competitor. He is a man to be reckoned with, or a man not to be reckoned with, depending on how you look at it. But it's great to see him all the way out here in that Subaru. He's campaigned that car across the United States, along with a McLaren he's campaigned in Texas, a Viper he campaigned across the states with another competitor of ours. It's great to see our drivers really open up their wheelhouse and try to drive as many things as they can to increase their skill. Aaron Gong was the first one across the stripe at a 58.9, but Ryan with a 57.3 right behind him. It does look like Richard Klein was off the throttle down the front straight, or not at full song, because he was carrying an immense speed around the back, but just a 201. A 2-minute .951 for Austin Shipley, with Dustin Kent right behind him at a 201.415. Zach Sober at a 2:03. Looks like he's warming up. Sofian Frivola, 157.66, jumping through the standings. And Curtis Pogue in that C506 at a 59.853. Top 4, sub 2 minutes in this session. It does look like, for the most part, they were gridded up in a great order. There were some people who were jumping left and right, but that's why we re-rack the grid after lunch, after the first day, and after lunch of the second day. So no one is stuck in any position. If you are running significantly faster than you have in the past, or you just figured it out over the weekend, we're going to re-rack you 3 times during the event. Down to a 156.0. Now, as that was a BTCC car, that's a car that was built to go lap after lap. Now, he's obviously not running the exact same everything. I'm sure there are some small changes, but a majority of that car is the original car that it was. So he has a chassis that he knows can just be out there and beat up over and over again. Looks like Austin Shipley's down to a 159.061 in the Mustang, getting comfortable in the car. Dustin Kent just a little off his fastest lap, which was the first one. Aaron Gong looked like he was on a cool-down lap. He's going for a flyer again. Same with Curtis Pogue. It seems the first lap was truly the best lap for almost all these competitors, minus Ryan. Robert Robles over there in his exhibition Toyota 86 at a 201.958, setting his fastest lap on his second lap of this session. Looks like we had 2 cars going off in bus stop there. Got a quick little dust cloud. It was Zach Sober right behind what looked like Aaron Gong. Ryan, once again, 3 laps back to back to back, going faster. The second lap, he took off a second. This one off, he took off 2 at a 154.606. He's figured it out. He's got Buttonwillow figured out, and he's trying to go faster every single lap. Hopefully he has enough tire underneath him to keep going. For those of you that have been tuning in the whole time or just following up, this is Group 4 of the final session before lunch. We've gone through 4 groups twice now. Everyone has gotten to terms with the track. The weather has been incredible. It's 55 degrees right now. The morning started very cold in the 30s. I believe first session was 39 or 41 degrees. It was absolutely sub 35 when the day started. Had a pretty big off in Sunset. That's probably the safest thing you can do when you have an off in Sunset. You just go straight off instead of trying to recover and go into the wall right there, blocking pit in. Zach Sober has ran a 57.638 so far. This is going to be the first time he's been in a session and he hasn't led the entire time. So Ryan's really picked up the pace. It's nice to see all the competitors out here still going faster. I'd say the track is still very happy. Bus stop's dirty right now. We've had a few cars go off, so there's going to be some dirt to the exit of the corner off where you really track out. But for the most part, temperatures are great. The sun is still out and shining, but it's behind some cloud cover, so it's not in anyone's eyes. It's not getting too hot. 55 degrees right now here in Buttonwillow. And Ryan finally went slower with a 2:04. Looks like we do have a few cars coming into the pits, Zach Sober being one of them. Looks like the car in front of him was Dustin Kent. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think he had a front bumper when he went out there initially. I believe the track workers are letting me know, by the way, track workers, my friends, always treat them with love and respect. Without them, we couldn't do what we do. But he does not have his front bumper anymore, and if he had a splitter, that is gone too. Luckily, however it was attached, it didn't seem to tear any of the other bodywork off, which is great news. It's still a drivable car, something that, you know, given if they can get everything back together on it, he could go out with again. Getting some more information here. Dustin Kent seemed to have lost his bumper at Phil Hill. If you were following us earlier when Paul and I were talking about some of the hairier corners of the track, that is a place where it's very easy to lose the front end of your car. You go in a little too hot, you don't make the apex, you go off to the left over there, and it's a significant drop. You come off the track a little bit, bang your splitter on the ground, it could tear the whole front end off of your car. What you can see here is this is more than just checking tire pressures. Notice he has an IR probe in his hand. He's actually checking temperatures outside, middle, inside. It lets him know a couple things. It lets him know, one, if the vehicle has enough camber, because if it does, the temperature load is going to be even across the board. It also lets him know which side of the car is taking more abuse. Obviously, this is a clockwise track. Clockwise means there's going to be more left turns than right turns. And the left turns here, a lot of them are aggressive. You have Riverside, which is a severely loaded, cambered right turn. I apologize, I meant right turns. Severely loaded and cambered right turn. Sweeper, same thing. You carry a lot of speed through the sweeper. So the right side of the vehicle tends to get pressures and temperatures up much quicker and much higher than the left side, which would be the inside side of the corner. So I was calling Austin Shipley as the driver of the Mustang, but it looks like it is still Yeager because I see Austin there checking tire pressures and going over everything. This right here is what you see an empty paddock looking like. This is the last session before lunch, so the GTA staff is out there making sure if there's anyone with a 4 off, they have to come in, be cleared to go back out, clear them back out. But these are the final cars before lunch. It's currently 11:55 out here. We will be on lunch from 12 to 1:10. This is the last 5 minutes these drivers have to try and set a flyer. This is today's schedule. We are on 11:25 to 11:45 session. The reason that it got pushed and it looks a little different now, we had the sweeper incident, we had drivers and other issues going on track. We had to go and sweep the entire track. So right now from 12 to 1:10 we'll be on lunch, and then at 1:10 group 1 is going to start gridding up, and at 1:15 we'll go hot again. So to anyone out here that's watching from track, I do want to make a small, quick request. If you're watching from your truck, your trailer, and you happen to have an Odyssey PC680 battery, Jose Mejia with the Art of Attack Civic would be in your debt. They're having some small electrical gremlins, and they need to see if it's their battery causing it or something else, so that would be huge. To anyone else out there, this is Time Attack. We want to make sure that all of our competitors have every chance to set their laps. This is that new style GT86, and I'm not sure if they lost a rear panel or if they're just removing something that got loose, but I gotta say that car looks incredible, especially with that kit on it. Toyota did an amazing job on the new generation. This is a car that when it first came out, people loved. It was a great track machine. It did work, and it was going to be very hard to make that even stronger, make it better, you know what I mean? So they absolutely came out with an even stronger version with version 2, and like everything else, they're out here in a brand new model with a wide body on it, and they're out here trying to just set laps and go fast. Currently, Ryan Dusex is still number 1 of this session with a 154.606. Zach Sober was able to get closer with a 55.383, but it does look like Ryan is going to lead this session to a close. And this is going to be the checkered flag of the session. Anyone that's on a flyer, it will count. But from what we can see out here, every single person is on a cooldown lap. So that is going to be the end of session 2, group 4. Unless Zachary Sober going over Phil Hill right there is on a flyer, it does look like he's cooling it down. He just did lay down his fastest lap of the session with a 55.383. He's probably going to come in, lay it down from there. So thank you so much for being with us this morning. It's been a great session 1 and session 2 here at GTA Finals at Buttonwillow Raceway Park. We got to see some fast laps from Life Motorsports. Sean Cagle leading the entire event right now. But I think the buzz in the paddock is going to be about Evasive Motorsports and their S2000, because Dai Yoshihara is nipping at the heels of Cole Powelson right now. We have plenty more track time to go, plenty more competition to go. So be sure to come back with us at 1:10. We're going to go through these standings really quickly for you. It's going to be Zachary Sober just coming in, laid down his fastest lap this session with a 55.383 to surpass that 56.689. Aaron Gong also fastest that last session. Thomas A. Smith leading street class. Robert Robles right behind him with a 149.154, and Johnny Hernandez with a 50.758. Johnny and Thomas were the guys we were talking about to be the most competitive with each other, but Robert Robles is splitting the gap. Kevin Burke at a 47.364 leading limited class right now. And Sean Cagle, like we talked about, he wants a 39. He needs it. He breathes it. But he's at a 40.951 right now, leading Cole Powelson with a 141.0 and Dai Yoshihara at a 41.253. Dai and the Evasive team have picked up the most time from practice to here, so I'm sure we're going to see them pick up even more. Quick shout out to Craig Coker, a 143.481. That's in a Tesla Model S Plaid. Incredible aero on that car. The thing is just doing great, followed by Gabriel Shadid. So the top 4 are definitely something to keep track of. Ryan, on the other hand, a 154.606. He picked up 2 seconds on his fastest lap in that last session. Once again, this is Global Time Attack Finals here at Buttonwillow Raceway Park. We'll catch you back at 1:15 where the sessions go hot. They'll be gridded up at 1:10. Huge shout out to our sponsors, Yokohama Tires, Garrett Advancing Motion, Ray's Wheels, Enos Oils, Ignite Race Fuel, Competition Clutch, CSF Radiators, Super Lap Battle, Revolution Media. Without them, we wouldn't have an amazing live stream, and Meister Watches. This is our schedule going into the afternoon on the right side. Be back at 1:15 for the live stream. My name is Cuban Rodriguez, and we thank you so much for being with us right now. We'll catch you in a little bit over an hour.